This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Polly Robinson Brown Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. We are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Amy Trask. What an honor. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are very welcome, and thank you for agreeing to come and tell us or share your plans with us.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Okay. All right. You are interested, or no, you are campaigning. You are already a candidate for...
I'm running for the Florida State House of Representatives for District 22.
Okay. And this covers what counties?
It has Western Alachua County, all of Gilchrist County, and all of Levy.
Wow. So your work is cut out for you.
It's fun.
It's fun. And Levy, I live in Archer. I'm next door to Levy County, and I have spent lots of time for the last 44 years in Levy County researching and authenticating the Rosewood history, because my aunt was the Rosewood teacher there in 1923, January 1, when the massacre happened. However, she survived, told my mother her story, and my mom shared it to me, and I said, no, Mom, I don't want to do it. It's too painful. My mother said, you must keep history alive. So
Absolutely.
I'm telling it because she said research, authenticate, and share, and I do it very positively. And she said to me, never attack anyone for what happened in Rosewood, because you didn't create it and they didn't create it. Just tell the story. Mm-hmm. So I am very involved. I know several people in Levy County, and if ever you are in Levy County, let me know. I'll meet you there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, and your last name, you have already told us your last name, but Trask, I remember that name years ago.
Yeah, so I am a seventh generation Floridian. We have been involved in politics since Florida was Florida.
Really?
My grandfather was Senator Alan Trask, who was the Florida Senate Pro Tem, and he also served in the House of Representatives. He's actually one of the many reasons why home rule was in our statutes. Once it passed in the Florida Constitution, he was in the committees to actually assign statutes to codify that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And you plan to continue the legacy?
So we work on different sides of the aisle, but I
Okay.
do want to continue the legacy of transparency and accountability and home rule. I think it's vital. Even before my grandfather, my 3-time great aunt was Mayman Jennings, and her husband was our 18th Democratic governor. Really? And her father was Austin Shuey Mann, who was one of the signers of the Florida Constitution. And so Mayman Jennings is who I align with slightly more because she fought for women's equality. She fought for women's place in government and education. She fought for conservation. And so she was considered the mother of forestry, but also one of Florida's first radical feminists, I guess.
Right. Wonderful, and we need that to be continued. Tell me what is meant by home rule for those listening that may not understand?
Yeah, a home rule is vital. It was codified into our Florida Constitution, and it basically says that every county should be able to govern themselves because it's not a one-size-fits-all in our state.
Exactly.
Gainesville is not Brooksville, is not Miami-Dade, and so we should be able to govern ourselves accordingly based off of the desires and the needs of our constituents.
Absolutely, I like that. And I'm more than sure they are listening, and they know now more about home rule than what they did before I asked that question. Okay.
Thank you. It's so important. It's a conversation that we need to be having. It was under attack this legislative session, and it will have devastating impacts on agriculture, aquaculture, on communities far and wide.
And you were telling me earlier that you have a bill on the floor?
So I put 10 bills into the legislature this year. 4 made it through drafting. 2 became Senate priority bills, and then Haven, my whole heart and soul, my bill, it actually passed. It's sitting on the governor's desk right now.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay, and we're waiting for him to sign it, right?
We are. He has until May 26th, and once it passes, we'll be able to help domestic and dating violence survivors all across the state.
That's Governor DeSantis, right?
Yes.
And I hope you're listening, Governor DeSantis. Please sign her bill.
We're hoping so. It passed unanimously and bipartisanly, so I'm hoping it'll be a smooth sail, but we will see.
We will see. We'll be watching, so please pass it. And you know what? I have been involved in politics forever. Last year, I needed to talk to what district you run with?
22.
I drove unannounced to Tallahassee. However, I was able to meet with our Representative Yvonne Henson, and she worked me in there to talk with the representative. And he was kind enough to talk, and I wanted money for my Rosewood Foundation. However, there was none, and that's exactly what he said. Okay, we have spent the budget, And I know that's just a way of them saying, hey, not now, we're not ready. Because I also talked to a young man who is running for governor. I'm not calling any names. And I told him I was interested in building a museum in Archer, a Rosewood Museum in Archer, in commemoration of my aunt, the Rosewood school teacher. And he said to me, Mrs. Jenkins, if they wanted to build the Rosewood Museum, he said, they can do it tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
Really? Mm-hmm. He said, money is there, okay?
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to say I'm supporting this man, this person who is running, but he has been on my podcast show. I have invited other potential candidates, for governor, to get in touch with me, and I will bring them on my show. I have extended the invitation, but I am not endorsing them. But if people want to hear them, they have my permission, just like I wanted to hear what you have to say.
Oh, thank you.
And we're going to walk this out together. And like I said, I'm not endorsing, but
sure,
I will approve your agenda.
Well, thank you.
I absolutely will, especially if you're trying to help. And what I can hear, your outreach is for. It's important.
Thank you.
We need it.
I want to thank you so much for all that you do with Rosewood. I was so impressed by you when we went out to the state mile marker.
Yes.
I heard you sing, and it was such a wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful my kids were there to hear it. I think our history is there for us to learn from, so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past, and we honor the people that were directly impacted by it. And it's important to us and to me and to my campaign to preserve our history, to teach the next generation, because right now we are fighting for the era that must come next, and that must be marked by, belonging and inclusion,
yes,
and empathy, and decency. And I think that's monumental. And I would do anything in my power to help support your mission.
Oh, I appreciate so much, and that means so much to me. And what really brought tears to my eyes the day we were there, and after I sang that song, about Rosewood that my mom wrote, and I helped her add it. One of your kids came up to me and hugged me and said, "Oh, I just loved your song." Tears that I tried to fight back. I did. But just to hear that, just to hear what you were saying about me and supporting me and my mission and what I want to do, that let me know that my work is not in vain. I'm doing what my mom said you must do, not for black children, but for children, for the next generation, for history. Keep it active, keep it alive.
Absolutely.
And with help from people like you, I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yes, yes. And you also told me something else that I don't remember right now that you are doing or going to do.
Sure. Yeah. Tomorrow, I will be at the Doak and Cobb building. I will be having a conversation about home rule. We're going to have an honest conversation about the history of it, how we got here, and what it's going to mean for Floridians after the passage of some of these bills this last legislative session.
I'm waiting. I can't wait. I want to be there, and right now it's on my agenda. I will be there to support you. I will support any candidate who is going to improve our state.
Thank you.
We need that.
Yes.
We don't need to redivide, and I feel that I grew up in plum dark segregation. Plum dark, that's a term that you don't understand, but it was just that bad. Segregation when I grew up was bad. I remember stepping off the sidewalk for other people to walk on the sidewalk. I remember the Jim Crow days because my parents lived it. And me being a young kid at 5, 6, back in the 40s, I remember. I did not like it. I remember not being able to drink from the water fountain. I remember we did not have books in our school. And when we did get the books, the hand-me-downs, they had markings in them, and words that did not appeal to us. In fact, I didn't know what it meant until I asked my parents. I was so young. However, I thought we had grown past that. But you know what? It seems like we're moving back. We're reversing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was in school, it feels like forever ago, but I guess it wasn't that long ago. But when I was in school, we were reading about, Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. We were reading Uncle Tom's Cabin. We were reading these awfully heartbreaking pieces of literature, but they were so informative, and they taught us to be civic-minded, responsible human beings, that our past is so important to know and understand and to digest, because it will impact the way we treat fellow human beings in our space. And it's appalling to me that we're banning literature.
Exactly.
That we are, being selective about history that happened.
Exactly.
And saying what did and what didn't, saying, these people benefited from slavery, and it's disgusting and abhorrent. And to me, the only way to ensure that our kids are responsible human beings who will go out into the world and make it better is to give them the full picture. And if we don't give them the full picture, how can they advocate, and how can they make the world better with only half of the toolkit, right? And so for me, it's absolutely vital. My kids, I've supplemented a lot of my kids' education, because it's like, no, it's important for you to read this. It's important for you to watch this. It's important to how you develop as human beings. Thankfully, because of that, my children have spoken in school board meetings. Okay. They've spoken in Tallahassee, and we need more of that. We need more conversations about painful truths to help us be better people and to learn from it.
Absolutely. And speaking of children, I am also extending the invitation to children. So if your children would like to come on, I'll take both of them at the same time and talk about history. They have my permission because we need to hear from them because they know how to think outside of the box. And we don't need to think that our kids don't know what is going on. They recognize.
They're aware.
They are aware of
Absolutely.
the differences. They are aware. And yes, we need them involved. And I'm working as we speak on a Rosewood documentary, however. But I need kids involved because there is a verse in my mother's song that says, run, 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 run on for your life. Oh, Lord, hide anywhere. Just try to survive. And this happened on the night when they were running to get to the train and hiding out. So we're going to need kids, and I want to integrate the kids that's running. We have got to take this back to Rosewood, get in those woods, and we got to film this. And you have your...
My kids are firecrackers.
Yes, they are, but they're brilliant too.
Thank you.
And you have you have your own personal, what is she called?
She's my social media director.
Yeah. She is your personal social media director, and we want her there filming too.
Sure.
It's going to be a community documentary, okay?
Well, my whole team supports you, so whatever you need, you let us know.
All right, wonderful. I'm glad to hear. And I want this segment, I want this podcast to go viral, okay?
Well, thank you.
Okay. All right, it's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida and America's Black History. And you are too. January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Amy Trask. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Welcome back, and I need to give a shout out to my sponsors. They are awesome. Our Coach Steve Spurrier is well knowledgeable, knows a lot about Rosewood, and very supportive. And I appreciate you, Coach. Okay, keep up the good work and everything else you do for the people in Alachua County and at the University of Florida. Freddie Wiebe is co-chair.
He's the co-owner.
Co-owner of Spurrier Gridiron Grill, and he's a very good friend of Spurrier and a very good friend of Lizzie, of Queen Lizzie Podcast. In fact, he named the podcast Queen Lizzie, and they do a lot to support history because it is told without prejudice. And I enjoy that. And Meldon Law, I can't say enough about Meldon Law. He's been around since 1970, since the hippie days, okay? And he's still out there hustling for kids, supporting kids. And each week he does for the week? Athlete of the Week, each Wednesday. And it's very important that we connect and stay connected to with our Campus USA Credit Union. So thank you all, and we appreciate the brunch you serve every weekend from 11 to 3 p.m. The best food in town, y'all. And I'm here as often supporting and representing as I can be. Now that I have that out of the way, I need to bring in the most important person in the world to me, my mother. Okay, I hear her, I feel her. I know she is around, and she is my queen. She is the person who is responsible for me meeting so many people, including you, Amy. Had it not been for my mom and her Rosewood story, we would not have met. She was a genius, 8th grade scholar, the smartest woman ever walked the face of this earth. Okay, and I appreciate you, Mom. And when I say she's still around, last week, a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting at my computer typing, and I said, Mom's mission was a knock at the door. So I jumped up, went to the door. There was no one there. And I know it was her because I was talking about her. And I said to her, Mom, I know it's you. But wasn't anyone there. But I keep working this. And my mom always encouraged me to research. I told you that earlier. Tell the truth. And she said, if you are going to tell Rosewood history, you need to write a song. Write a song. And she said to me, sit down, Mom is going to write a song so that when you go out and talk about Rosewood history, you can tell the story in song. You have heard it all the way. So I'm just going to share 3 verses today with the people who are listening. I share the same 3 verses every week because I don't want to put my song out there in full. So it goes like this. And by the way, Cedar Key is 9 miles from Rosewood. In Cedar Key in 1923, there was a train hub, and all of the trains that boarded in Cedar Key, and boarded may not be the right word, but anyway, that was their rest place. They called it a hub. And several train conductors from Jacksonville, Duval, Fernandina area would come to Cedar Key and haul lumber, some people call it timber, and other produce back north. Is it north? West. Okay, east. Back east. But anyway, the song goes like this. 3 verses. The Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with a lantern, his young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plans, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock, oh Lord, informed the train conductors just when and where to stop, pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out, and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. Bob Walker and John Wright took on a daring risk, put the survivors on the train, Lord, and sent them off with a kiss. Notified the Gainesville families to be on the lookout for their kin. Told them the train was a-coming and told them exactly when. So I'm stopping the song there, but it went on and on and on and on, all the way to Briceville, where the Brice brothers, the train conductors, lived. And once they got to Briceville, there were people still on board. So I'm not going to go into that. You will have to read my book to find the details.
Love that.
Yes. But thank you very much. And my guest today is Amy Trask. And I met you when?
A few years ago. We met in passing, I think it was a Cotton Club event.
Yes, a few years ago. However, because of what she is doing, for some reason, I thought she was a certified politician. She is not, but she's a qualified politician. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, God qualified you.
Thank you.
He doesn't call the qualified. He qualified the caller.
Amen.
Okay, all right. But anyway, tell me about haven. The meaning of haven.
Sure. Haven is so important to me. I survived domestic violence with my eldest child, and I barely survived. And I had to search for my child for 2.5 years before finding him again. But during that time, I saw the structural failures in our legislation. And I saw that nothing was being done to fix them. And so I did a lot of research. I spoke with a lot of stakeholders. I spoke with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I spoke with multiple sheriff's offices. And I created a bill called the Haven Act, which stands for Helping Abuse Victims Escape Now. And it is the first tool of its kind in the entire country that is a tangible thing that victims of dating and domestic violence can use to discreetly notify police and see police response so they can make it to safety. The way it works is a victim would go online and they would sign up for a website that looks just like any other email subscription. Here's my name. Yes, click the box. I'm a victim of violence. This is where I live. They create a PIN number or a code word. And once they do that and press submit, it goes to the police database, just where all of the information for dispatch usually is, and it will randomly generate a unique phone number for them to save in their phone. And they can save that number as Aunt May or Uncle George or Grandma, and when they need help, they call that phone number, and if they can speak, they use the code word. If they cannot speak, they use the PIN number, and that automatically dispatches police to their location. And that's important for a few reasons. Number one, if their abuser happens to be in law enforcement, they're not notified that their partner is calling for help. Police are automatically dispatched. It also helps the victim if the perpetrator is there in the room, because they're not ordering a pizza. They're not calling 911, which everybody knows that number. If they look through the phone after the call, they called Grandma or Aunt May or Uncle Billy. And so it protects them, and it protects our police officers, because when they get to the scene, they know to immediately separate the two. And they know who the alleged perpetrator and who the alleged victim is, and they can make sure they get to safety. The other thing that the bill does is it brings statutory congruence to dating and domestic violence. And what that means is right now, dating violence and domestic violence, they're categorized as different things. So there is an enhancer on domestic violence, because domestic means you're related or you share a child together, you live together, and dating violence is not. And so because of that, our state resources are designed to help domestic, not dating. And so this bill, by making them weigh the same, we allow dating violence victims, so our daughters, our granddaughters, our, people finding themselves in their college years, they will be able to access protective and reactive resources that the state of Florida has, including namely the Attorney General's Address Confidentiality Program. Wow. So this bill is so important because it would have saved my life if I had this resource, but there's 200,000 Floridians going through this right now. There's 106,615 cases reported in the state of Florida in the Uniform Crime Report from FDLE, but statistically only 50% of cases are reported. So when you look at that number, that's 200,000 Floridians. That's 1 in 3 women. That's 1 in 4 men. It is a leading cause of death in pregnant women, and 5 million children experience it or witness it every single year.
Oh my God.
So, and in the bills that we put forward, 4 of them were domestic violence bills. So there's so much room for improvement in this area. We have a 50-50 presumption for custody that needs to be fixed, because oftentimes the richest parent wins, regardless of the well-being of the child.
Right.
And that's got to go. We have transcript costs that are through the roof. I worked with Senator Polsky and Representative Harris on that this cycle. Unfortunately, that one didn't make it out of drafting. We're still working on some kinks, but transcripts are astronomical. So often cases in family court, abusers can use the system to continually abuse their victim. And it's because transcripts can be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. So we need, equity in resources for that. We have, I introduced a bill called Safe Shelter this year. If you've ever had a home study done at your home, if you've ever, worked with DCF or a CBC and you had a home study done, there's nothing to protect you if abuse happens at that home. If abuse happens in that home that's been approved and you take your child to a domestic violence shelter, under the law, and in a lot of cases, they will make the child return back to the abusive household because that's the only approved location. Because when we certified domestic violence shelters, we didn't fix the other areas of the statutes to make them agree with each other. So and that's just a few areas. There's so much room for improvement where it comes to domestic violence and public safety. And so this year, as I said earlier, I was just a mad mom. I'm not a lobbyist. I'm not paid to make these. I studied the statutes myself, just as I did when I worked 3 jobs here in Gainesville to, find my son and to win custody against a team of attorneys. I did it myself.
Really?
It's the same thing, now. I studied the statutes and I put in the work to write the bills, and then I lobbied for them in Tallahassee. I found sponsors and co-sponsors, and I testified in committees, and I worked my butt off to get Haven through, and I'll continue working hard on the other priorities that we have.
And Haven is the bill that you have that the governor needs to sign.
Yes, it stands for Helping Abuse Victims Escape Now. It passed unanimously, bipartisanly, and it's currently sitting on the governor's desk. So we're just waiting for his signature. He has until the 26th.
We need your Governor DeSantis. This is not about politics.
Correct.
This is about human lives,
Yes.
our kids especially. We need, I'm talking to you, Governor, we need your signature. Yes. This is not about us. Absolutely. And I'm so glad I asked you to explain this. Now I better understand, okay, what you have done. You need to be representing all of us.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
I have learned so much from you. As I said, I thought you were a politician already, but you are campaigning, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
Brunson, because I'm very familiar with Levy County, and they are very supportive. So you're going to get good help from there.
I love Levy County.
Yes,
I love Levy County. I grew up scalloping and come in every summer for my birthday. So it is like a second home to me. So I definitely love Levy County.
Too. I have lots of relatives in Levy County. Like I am 10 miles from Williston, and like 5 miles from Raleigh, and Raleigh is Levy County. I have quite a few of our family members in Levy County, and I appreciate you and your information. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I have learned so much. Okay, so thank you for coming in, and I'm going to ask you if is anything else you would like to say before you read the closing statement?
I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to sit down and chat with you, and I'm excited to see where this partnership goes. I'm excited to support you. So thank you so much for your support of me.
And thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, as I said, it is your privilege, it's your opportunity, it's your time to give us the closing statement.
Sure, absolutely. I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode for Queen Lizzie. I'm Amy Trask. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.